And the Bible says, my people perish for lack of vision. And what does that mean? It means that you are focusing on something farther beyond yourself. You have a goal, you have a purpose, you have a vision, and that's what you're working towards. And it may be way over there, and there may be all these painful things in between it, but it doesn't matter because you're working towards that thing out there, right? I love, Caleb and I were just having a conversation about this not too long ago. There's a book what is with me in names tonight? What's his name, Caleb? Donald Miller. Anyways, the book that I actually read was creating your story brand. And it's actually about branding and stuff like that. But he mentions in there, and I'm not even going to try to say the guy's name because it's a really strange name, but he was a kind of I don't know what you'd call him, philosopher or something like that. He wasn't even a Christian during the early 1900s and through World War II and all that. And the idea was, was it Freud during that same period of time said, all humans' ultimate goal is pleasure, right? He said that. And his idea was everything that humans are motivated by was pleasure. And so they're always just looking for comfort and pleasure. Well, this guy, again, if you want to find his name, I can find it for you, but it's really hard to say, and I can't really even remember it right now. He came along and he said, no, that's not the driving point of humans. He disagreed that our ultimate goal is pleasure. He says, when you don't have purpose, your ultimate goal is pleasure. And his idea was that all people were created to have purpose, to have vision. That's what we're talking about right here. That they were actually created to have purpose and vision, and then they would go through hard things, and they would go through tough things, and they would go through horrible things, and they would never leave or never lose their desire to live and their passion to live and what they were looking for because they always had a purpose. And he says pleasure is only the second resort because you don't have a purpose. And what's amazing about this man is that this was during the early 1900s, and he went through World War II, and he was a Jew, and he was in the concentration camps, and he lost all of his family. He lost his wife. He lost his unborn child. He lost everything. He even went through Auschwitz and he made it out alive. And after the war, he went on a speaking tour. He made it through alive, and he went on a speaking tour, and he spoke on the beauty of life after this man just went through all this. And it was not too long after. Caleb, do you remember the country where it was? Where he was at that hospital? It doesn't matter. It was a European country. Is that they in this country and in this hospital, they were dealing with a lot of young youth, and they were having a suicide epidemic. All these kids were killing themselves. And he said, let me come and practice what I believe is true. And he came to this hospital, and he came to every single person, and he said, you need a purpose. And his goal was to find every single person a purpose. And he says, whether that's learning to play the piano, whether that's being able to draw art, whether that's building a business, whether that's being, an amazing, famous person, or whatever it is, whatever it is that gets you up out of bed each day. Excuse me. And under his watch, there was no suicides. He did not lose a single person. And what he would do is that he would sit these people down, and they would have groups, and they would talk about all the terrible things that happened in their life. And they would list everything off and all the stuff they had gone through. And then he'd say, okay, now find the good in that. And he says, how did that prepare you for what you're going into now? What did you get from that? From that did you actually develop? And find that positive thing. He says, now what is your purpose? And he would challenge them, find a purpose. And that is what changed them and actually gave them a purpose in their life. And and we look in America right now, we look at we look at addiction, we look at suicide rates are just out of this world. And I look at it and I go, you know what? The Bible teaches us that same thing, is that because my people don't have vision, they're perishing. is because God has actually created each one of us with a purpose, with a goal, with a mission, and with vision in our life. He has destiny for you. And when you are not fulfilling the destiny that God has planned for you, what's the point of living, right? Is you need a purpose, you need a vision.